Hi, my name is Pao, and welcome back to my channel. I know I have a knack for filming at night. Honestly, night filming is kind of underrated, to be honest. 2024 is filled with a bunch of new releases that I know we're all excited for, whether it be paperbacks coming out when you've just been waiting for the paperback in order to read the book. Also, whether it's just been a new book from a favorite author, or even a new book that you haven't quite really heard of before, or maybe even never read from this author before, but you're just so intrigued and you can't wait for it to come out. Or even something as nostalgic as favorite middle school author finally releasing an adult book after years of not publishing anything. In this video, I'm going to be exploring and talking about and hugging up on my newest bombshells added into my book collection, which are my 4 most anticipated releases of the year. And after I've read all 4 of these books, I'm going to couple them up at the end of the book with similar like titles and see who gets to be at the top of the pyramid. Who's going to win that 100K? So for the TBR, we've got The Will of the Many by James Islington. I technically started reading that one a little bit more in my last video for my summer reading list. This one broke me. This one really did break me. Yeah, just roll the clip. I have nothing else to say. I'm technically already a little too far into it, but I'm at part 3. I've got this much left to the book, and I'm so excited. You have no idea. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. I'm hopefully going to try and finish some of it. Normally I do read audiobooks. Like I listen to them in my headphones at work, especially if there's a lot of people there, because it gets a little rowdy and I can't really focus. I've just been super into reading physically lately, or at least like just I haven't been in the whole audiobook mood. And I think that some certain audiobooks kind of like tend to drag a little bit, or I don't like the narration, and I'm kind of picky about my sounds in particular. Essentially, if you watched my last video, you would know that I'm currently reading this, and I have been for a hot second. Technically, it's not a new bombshell, but it's new to me because it's the paperback just came out. So technically it's a new bombshell and I've been waiting for the paperback. So far what has happened is he's been put through kind of levels. It's giving very much like Circles of Hell, but like in terms of a school, but not actually. Like that's just like the vibe that it gives me, but that's not actually what's happening. He's been living in an orphanage, how he's been fighting for money, and then he gets adopted by a high class ranking official, and the high class ranking official is essentially like, I need you to go and spy for me at this academy because I think that they're up to no good. And so then the high-ranking official promises him that he won't need to be involved in this like in this like magical system if he just does this one thing for him. He also gets stopped by the rebellion group and is also contracted, but he's more like blackmailed into that one. Like the other like the high-ranking official that's kind of doing like some behind the scenes work gave him the option. Now it's essentially him going through this academy, kind of going up in the ranks, doing what he's being asked of both sides. And it's also him dealing with these complex emotions and the complex world, and also trying to discover what this secret history is. Very, very good. Very, very good. There's like class rankings, there's pressure, there's tension, there's a tiny, and don't get carried away when I say tiny. It's not this tiny, it's this tiny romance plot. And it's so cute, and I know that's going to like ruin me because Forbidden Romance is one of my Forbidden Romance is my alma mater. Like Forbidden Romance is the one thing that will shatter me to the day that I die. Like Forbidden Romance is something, it makes me cry. You know that X-Men movie that nobody liked? Oh wait, not X-Men. You know that Men in Black movie that nobody liked, like Men in Black International, this one with Chris Hemsworth? That technically had Forbidden Romance at the end of the first movie, and I was sobbing. I was crying so bad in the movie theater. It was so embarrassing. But that's what I mean. Like forbidden romance like that, it's going to absolutely rip my heart out every single time. I just want people to be happy. I want characters to be happy. I want them to reach self-actualization. I want them to have the love of their life with them at all times. I want them to grow old together. Like, I am such a hopeless romantic, but I'm also just so like, please, please don't die. Getting closer to the mystery. He's like, tensions are rising. He's ranking up, and it's so good. It's so good. I will say there's something with the storyline that I'm not really like into at the current moment. The way that women are talked about in this book, like, it's almost as if the main character has at the beginning, the main character definitely has a problem with women. He in general has a problem with authority, but usually the problem, when he has a problem with authority, it's usually with women. Male authorities in his life have never ever, he either connects with them better, or he at least shows them a semblance of respect more so than the women in his life. And I'm not saying that this is anti-feminist, but I'm also not saying that it's feminist either. Women are definitely put in this more traditional role in the book, and that's been told, but it hasn't been explored. So it's just kind of like odd, because a lot of these main characters and a lot of the characters that do drive the plot to a certain extent are women. So why are we not fighting for these women? Why are, and like, but then again, also I do notice that a lot of the time some of the women are put in more morally gray places, or they're also ruder, meaner, fouler, and like they don't have no reason to be, but all of the men have a motivation as to why they're this way. Like, they have a motivation, they have to do it this way. But it almost feels like, I don't know, it feels that there's such a disconnect there. And I think that it's kind of upsetting, because we do have some women in higher powers here, but it's not explored the way I wish I would have wanted it to, just because half of the population of the entire world is made up of women. So you can't say like, oh, you're just being a feminist and you're being this way because you're a woman. No, I'm saying that women are in places of power in our current world, so why can't women be in places of power, unless it's an explored thematic construction, like, unless you construct the story to be that way and you explore it and you deconstruct it, it's meant to be a commentary, but it's not. This is done subconsciously. I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me at the current moment, but it also doesn't feel wrong at the same time. It just feels like it's a little odd, some of the writing choices. But honestly, do I expect anything more from a man? Probably no. This is very base level from a male writer, to be completely honest. So and honestly, it's great. I'm at least happy that women are involved in the story, because I do like to see a very diverse cast, and I feel like women can add an extra layer. And I mean, very important characters have been women here as well, and I think that the women characters in the story are spectacular, and I really like them, but sometimes it feels like they're made out to be villains. A majority of the time, or at least initially, or at least in the end. So it's kind of upsetting sometimes. So, and the reason why I have a problem with it is because the men are to be seen as very righteous. That's when I kind of draw the line. You know what I mean? I wish that the main character could have treated the women that come in his life, or that are in his life, besides a select few. Okay, there are two that I agree he can yell at, but the other ones, I feel like they don't really deserve some of that disrespect. And even like the small little side romance plot, it feels like he underestimates her, even though she literally is a rank higher than him. That's just like the only slight little qualm, but truly, like, the writing style is very, very good. The writing style does tend to be kind of repetitive sometimes. Like he'll write something and you can tell he really likes the way that he just wrote that. So then a few pages you turn and he writes it again. And I'm like, Eilington, we don't need this right now. And I'm like, repetitive, and like I tack it, and then a few pages later he'll write it again, and then he'll get tired of it, and then he'll continue going, and then he'll find something else. There's the word behemoth, there's a phrase as well. I've got a few. If you see the little teal colors, those are the repetitions. There's a few more repetitions in there, but there's 1, 2, 3, and I can think of 2 more that I didn't tab because I didn't have my tabs in the story. So I'm going to say about 4 different times of repetition, and I only mark it as repetition after I see it for a 3rd time. So the character growth in the book has been really, really good as well. The world building has been so intricate. It's a little clunky because it's hard to understand sometimes. Like some things, there are a few little loose threads, but they're very minor. It's just I'm I'm trained to catch that. I'm an editor. But anyways, I have to get to work because I like to get here 10 minutes early and it's already 2 minutes past 10. So I am going to go in. I'm going to try and get this done. But overall, I'm literally so loving it. It's so intricate. It's so intense in detail. There are always going to be some minor things that I'm never going to like. You know, nothing is going to be perfect unless it's Mexican Gothic by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Really excited to finish this, and I'll let you know after I'm done. Going to work. I just got out of work an entire hour early, which is a surprise, but I mean, I've been working doubles all week, so getting home early is really nice. Just got in the car and I'm so excited. I'm just so sad that I'm kind of tired because I do really want to read tonight, but I'm also like so nervous to finish my book. I feel like it's gonna ruin me, but I think I am gonna try and stay up. I'm gonna get myself a large, well, an American large Diet Coke from the gas station, because what's more American than that, my dudes? I'm gonna finish this bad boy when I get home. I don't know what that was. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm gonna get home and I'm gonna get my sandwich. I'm gonna get my diet soda and I'm gonna read tonight. Yes.
Did he just dodge my shit? This motherfucker.
I'm sick to my stomach. I'm so sick. I'm so sick. Like, I finished it. I'm devastated. She's not a cuddly cat. So the fact that she's cuddling right now is really sweet. I will let you know once I'm composed tomorrow. My boyfriend's currently sleeping, so I'm going to try to be as quiet as possible. Well, it was actually 2 days ago that I finished this book. I started a new book last night, but it's not a part of the TBR for this video. It's just I wanted to read something in between because The Will of the Many ruined me. God, I was sobbing my eyes out. It was so sad. It was just the most life-changing experience. The next one comes out in November, which I think I might be doing another one of these videos for like the latter half of the year, and I'm doing this video for like the earlier half of the year, I guess you could say. So let's talk about The Will of the Many. The Will of the Many is essentially this Roman, I think I've already explained this part, but I feel like I finally got a good grasp on what it's about. It's like this Roman dark academia, post-apocalyptic world. It was really, really good. The writing was, honestly, this is my first thing I've ever read by James Islington, and genuinely, it was so good. I definitely want to read the rest of his backlog because this was so criminally good, and I was crying my eyes out. I was so sad by the end of this.
I absolutely like adored some of our characters, and I think the storytelling, the way it was done, um, was so good. Truly, truly, just so good. I was in such like not shocked by the ending, but it was so good to the point where I was like, I was like, truly, the storytelling was just something else, honestly. And it's so hard to explain more without telling spoilers. But I honestly really recommend reading this for yourself. Journey in and of itself was so good. I think I remember watching Plant-Based Brides view on this, and I'm almost positive I did watch the spoilers as well. And I'm gonna go back and rewatch it, but I don't think I remembered any of it at all. I think I watched that specific video when I was like doing my nails or doing something kind of passive, where it was just like passive listening, not really like active listening. I love putting her videos on in the background, like to cook or to like do my nails or something like that. Super fun. I love her so much. From what I remember, I totally understand how she felt and how some decisions are kind of like, ooh, and some decisions are also like, hmm. And I hope that some of these problems that I've had, it did get better. Like, I think the longer the story went, the more the main character felt more human. And, like, I think at first he was definitely playing like more of a caricature of a character, where it's like, oh, like he's really good at everything, blah blah blah. But then he started actually having flaws and acknowledging like, oh, like I'm not so good at everything, etc. And like I have to work really hard in order to like catch up, even if I do have some natural talent, or like some like things that have happened in my past that allow me to have this advantage over some people. That was really really nice to see and really good to see, and I definitely felt his character, and I could tell how much the author loved and cared about this character towards the end as well. He was kind of unlikable towards the beginning, and then just became this like person that we love and treasure, and we want the best for him, which is really good. And it's such a testament to the author's writing, especially for when something like this, you're able to do this, and even like caring about the villain at certain times as well. I'm so ready for the rest of it, and I'm excited.
Moving on to our next book of the vlog, it's going to be Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. You know what? I ate this one up literally in a 24-hour span. She was so good. I had lots to say, and honestly, this was a really good book. Really, really solid. And this, as I'm filming this kind of after the whole video's already been edited, and I like to add these pieces in just because that's who I am. And I just finished reading Deep End. Wow. Wow. Just wait till the next video, guys. Wait till the next video. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Okay, hello everyone. I wanted to come back and update you guys on my reading progress. And you've got a little dog cam going over there, apparently. First, let's start off with what I've already finished reading. I'm already done with Problematic Summer Romance. I finished that one last night. I actually started it that yesterday morning. I'm feeling a little down, and I decided to pick that one up to see if it would make me feel better, kind of have something not as brain heavy as kind of the other things on my list. So I started and finished that yesterday, so there wasn't really much for me to update throughout, but overall I really liked it. It was really cute, really fun, really nice, definitely what I kind of needed. And I didn't realize that it's actually a sequel to, not a sequel per se. Well, yeah, it's a sequel. It's like a sequel to Not in Love, which I should have read Not in Love first, and I thought about doing that, but for some reason I just decided to just. So it's about 23-year-old Maya, and Maya is just finishing up grad school, I believe, when she's invited to her brother's wedding. And she's kind of dreading reuniting with her brother's best friend, Connor, who is 15 years older than her. But they had this like kind of slight little flirtatious relationship not so long ago. But essentially, she is very much in love with him, and he is just kind of playing games, which for a 35-year-old man, for a 35-year-old man, essentially being like, you're just so young, and like, I just don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. But then is like very obviously like really liking her, and nobody else, like there's nothing really stopping them from getting together besides the age gap. I don't know. There's definitely like some stuff on like the male love interest side that I could tell why I felt like he couldn't be with her. So that's very much understandable. However, some of it I'm just like, it was so low stakes. So if you want like a low stakes romance, this one I definitely recommend. But I ended up giving it a 4.5. It was so cute, so fun, so good. It's set in Italy, like in Sicily, which I was really happy about. The vibes were so fun and so nice. It just made me want to like escape to a foreign country, sit by the beach, even though I did that like not 2 months ago. It makes I went to Puerto Rico like 2 months ago, and this would have been the perfect read while I was in Puerto Rico. I was visiting family, and I took all my friends with me, so it was really nice because it was like a nice I was around family and stuff, but I was mostly with my friends the whole time. And it was really nice to have like my group of friends like kind of interacting with my culture and everything. It was so fun. And this would have been the perfect book for that because the vibes were just perfect. The vibes were perfect. Couldn't tear my eyes away from it. It was so fun. It was so fun. I was laugh out loud. I was like, hee 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 hee. It's just such a fun experience. And I truly recommend it to anybody. I think anybody could like it. I did see somebody saying that they think this is the worst example of age gap romance. And honestly, I say no. I think this is a great way to show an age gap romance. I will say that the whole purpose of this particular age gap is to express like the age difference. Like if usually the problems that people have with an age gap romance is the age gap. So, because I saw somebody saying like they didn't see like usually with an age gap you have to think about this or that or this or that, like not really the age. Blah, blah. I was like, no, like usually most people are always upset about the age, and it talked about the power dynamics of what could happen, but like the female main character that's younger was saying there is no power dynamic. I'm rich, you're rich, I'm just younger than you. There is nothing going on here. Like, it's fine. We're both consenting adults and we both like each other. We can just date each other. Like, that's fine. Like, you clearly want me and I clearly definitely want you. So what is the problem here? He was just like, it's just, you're so young. You're just so young. I think this was a really well done age gap romance. I think because they clearly had things in common. Even though they weren't close in age, like they ran in the same circles. There's no power imbalance, that he's not her boss or anything like that. So everything, like the only one thing that could have possibly been a problem was the fact that she is his best friend's little sister. Has a dark, brooding, boy bandish eyeliner wearing, maybe 6'3", maybe tan skin, dark hair. Man ever swept you off his feet and gave you weed? No. You know what? I'd never thought that would be a premise of a book ever, but here we are with The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. She was a crazy one, but also she wasn't at the same time. Currently listening to The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I tried starting to listen to it last night, and I did start trying to listen to it kind of late. Very much it was like 10, 11 p.m. But it like got me for a little bit and then it just kind of bore me. Same thing, like I've been trying to listen to it like now and I've just been kind of bored. Like things are happening and it's good. The language though, I literally switched the audiobook from The Night and the Moth to Crescent City. That's how bored I was with the audiobook. I'm going to try and push through. I also downloaded the ebook. I'm doing all of this with my local library. And if you're not supporting your local library, you should really go do that. Just get a library card. It's free. You don't even have to use it. Just support the fact that they exist. Please, please do this. Anyway, I'm going to try and read the ebook and see if maybe that's a better way to go about this. Like it's going good. It's like, and it's kind of gritty, but it doesn't have the same kind of, again, I'm only on like chapter 5 and like I'm grasping it, but I'm also like, you know, I'm so wary of it all. And I think that the language in this book is a lot different. It's very different than in her other books. It almost feels like I'm reading or listening to a completely different writer, which is it's so interesting. Because it's still an adult novel, you know, it's not like she's completely changed, you know, genres either, or I don't even think she's changed time periods, you know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting how she went from her first duology to this. It's interesting. It's not completely boring, but right now everything that's happening, it's kind of like I'm not really like caring too much about it. It's not really like grabbing me in the way that I thought it would. Like it's kind of funny and interesting when I think about it, but like when I'm actually like listening, it might be the audiobook narrator, but I'm kind of bored a little. So I think that if I were to just switch over to the ebook or maybe even the physical book, I'd care a little bit more. So I'm switching over to the ebook on my Kindle for this one. I'm going to put the audiobook on pause for it. And I'll update you next time when I get farther into it. But this morning, because I wanted to kind of reserve that one as like my ebook or my audiobook pick. Hello everybody! I am on my way to a concert and I'm super excited. But I wanted to show you guys my go-to road trip snacks, okay? This is what we're working with, all right? Reusable bags, save some turtles. I got these are like the baggy ones. They're not actually the real baggy ones. I think these are like, yeah, these are fake, but like, you can just get the fake ones somewhere if you really don't want to pay for the baggy ones. These were a gift, so obviously I have to have some chocolate, of course. I like the white chocolate, like cookies and cream, but my boyfriend likes the Reese's and I always get him the big cups. Because he likes more peanut butter rather than chocolate. Of course, I just got my tooth gems done, so these are going to be a little bit of a hassle, but I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be fine. And then those are my favorite, and then my boyfriend likes the extra crunchy Cheez-Its, so I got him those. And then I've been kind of sipping on a like stale Diet Pepsi. The gas station was out of Diet Coke. They're out of Powerade, like all the different kinds of flavors from the machine, because it's cheaper if you get it from the machine than if you get a bottle. So at this gas station, I just got fruit punch, Powerade, etc. Boom, I'm at work again. So I'm gonna update you. I don't have my, do you see this? Do you see this? This is the aftermath of the concert. I'm about 50% of the way through The Night and the Moth, and I think it's fine. It's fine. That's like the best way that I can describe this, is that it's just fine. Let me actually set you over here. I think I like aspects of it. It's just something like, I do love the love interest. The love interest actually is very well-rounded. He's very dark and broody. And like, no offense, but I'm just, like lately I've been so sick and tired in my romanticies of all of these dark and broody men. Like, I would just prefer to have like a golden retriever guy that's like nice and actually tries and wants to be involved in things. I think the communication is done really well in terms of the romance part. It is a lot heavier on the romance than her last one, her duology. I'm really interested to see where the story goes from here. I'm trying to finish the audiobook today. I've been going back and forth between like my Kindle reading and my audiobook, so we'll see which one.
Okay. It is currently 1:40 in the morning, and I got off of work at 10:30, and I have a slow leak in my tire, which means I didn't get home until almost midnight. And you're honestly probably going to be seeing a lot of these. The next few clips are probably going to be a very late night clip because I want to remain on schedule. So I'm going to be finishing the next book tomorrow, but I just finished reading The Night in the Mall. Was it worth staying up this late? Honestly, probably not. Could I have filmed this tomorrow? Probably, but I low-key don't want to. So I'm just gonna film it now while I still have like makeup and hair done from work before I shower and go to sleep with my new kitty cat. The halfway point, I was like low-key not feeling it. Right, it was just one of those books where it was kind of mid. Like, I wouldn't say I would have DNF'd it, but I would have taken a lot longer to get around to it if it wasn't for this video. I think that if I would have read it to itch the itch that it should have itched, I perhaps would have enjoyed it more. However, reading it now in terms of a time where I want to analyze it a little bit more critically and, you know, for the sake of this video, it did what it needed to do. Like, truly, it's just a half, like, it's just it didn't really excel at anything, but it really didn't do anything poorly either. The way I explained this to my boyfriend earlier, because he was like, "Oh, what are you reading?" And I'm like, "I'm reading this book," and he was like, "Is it good?" And I'm like, "It's just mid." It was just a mid book. It was, you know, it teeters on really, really good, and also kind of teeters on like a what, you know. That's kind of the vibe that this book was giving me. Oh man, the ending was spectacular. It was a pretty good ending, and spectacular in retrospect of to what the rest of the book was like. I recommend this to anybody. I think I would recommend this to the readers that used to reading the fun, slight little romanticies, but they want something a little bit more nuanced. I think is what I would recommend this to. So, similar titles would be An Enchantment of Ravens, by Margaret Rogerson. That's basically what this gives, is An Enchantment of Ravens, but adult, and there's a little bit more adult banter, but that's essentially what this gives. It's very much YA with smut. And not that there's anything wrong with that. A lot of the romanticies books that are coming out recently kind of give that vibe. I'm not trying to compare titles at all, because I think that what Gillig set out to do, they did. You know, that they got it done, if that makes any sense. I do believe that her next books of this series are going to be a lot stronger, and I will continue to read on because of the ending. That being said, the beginning 80%, I want to say right up until the 80% mark, did it actually start to really engage me and really entrance me into the story. And the beginning really just did feel like setting up the story and setting up these characters, even though the characters didn't necessarily feel very come alive. They weren't very distinguished. They had their, you know, character traits and things like that, but I guess the way that Gillig went around writing these characters, it became very formulaic. This is a lot more on the romance rather than these two people that have come together under these incredible circumstances um and they fall in love in these trying times, you know. Like I definitely believe that there's a difference in that, and I do think that it was done better in her past books. I gave it a 3.25, and I feel very content with my rating. It's very much good, steady book. You know, it's just good. She did what she needed to do, and she did pretty good at it. And finally, last but not least, we have the myth, the legend, the wonderful goddess, Maggie. Maggie Stiefvater, my girl. My girl. We go way back, all right? Years back, even. The very first book that ever got me into reading in middle school was Shiver. All right? Yes. And do I still have them on my shelf? Yes. And you would too. Because these books shaped me into the person who I am today. They made me, forced me to read Twilight. And if you've been following me for a little bit, or at least if you've watched my TikToks, you know that I have talked about this book quite often because she's just that girl. She's that girl. She is that bombshell. She is the bombshell to bombshell all bombshells. And I was so excited for this. And honestly, it left me more pensive than ever, which is almost equivalent than leaving me as pensive as what if I were to turn into a werewolf and fall in love with a tall, curly haired boy? Currently painting. I don't know if you can see. Hold on. I kind of want to clip this to there so you can see. The lighting is terrible, but I need to talk about this book and I'm in the middle of doing something. So we've got lots to talk about here. Lots to talk about, all right? Lots to talk about. Where's my tape? Oh man, where's my tape? I'm currently 66% of the way through, and I'm meant to update you at 50%, but I kind of lost track of time, and I've literally just been painting this entire time. I did really want to just kind of consume it physically, because that's how I used to consume her books, but I've just honestly been so busy, and this vlog could have been completed like literally ages ago. Guys, Soup is actually being a literal terrorist right now. I don't know if I've said this in the video yet, but I got a new cat. And he's literally terrorizing. She's done. Finally. She's finally finished. This book was honestly not what I was expecting at all. This is purely like historical fiction with like a little tiny teensy weensy bit of like a sentient hotel, sentient water, like kind of fantastical element to it. That's the only thing that's fantastical about it, is the fact that the hotel is sort of sentient and the water is sentient, allegedly. Everything is so ambiguous. Soup, I swear to God. He has such bad zoomies right now. Oh my God. Culprit. This is the culprit. It's very much here for the vibes. The ending, not much really happens. To be honest, like the entire book, honestly, not a whole lot happens. I would say this is a good book for somebody who wants to get into fiction that usually only reads like history books, like nonfiction history books, and wants to read something
Fiction, I think this would really work well for somebody like that. This is very much a good introductory book. But this really honestly is just for vibes. Not a whole lot happens. You're kind of just sitting here with the atmosphere and kind of sitting here with these characters, and it's really, the book is really forcing you to feel how these people felt and how someone might have felt in a war-ridden time. And I will say that it does parallel a lot to what's currently happening today in our society. And I think it's very interesting how a story that has been written over the past 5 years can transcend its time. And I think that Steve Otter really does a good job of doing that. One of the lines that I really enjoyed from this was actually in her time traveling essay that she wrote towards the end of the book. After the end of the book, so you don't really have to. This isn't a spoiler or anything. I want the reader running off to a search engine to find out if any of these events or zip codes really happened to me. A novel isn't a research paper. You don't need to know the facts, you just need to know how those facts feel. My goal isn't to teach the reader about a setting, it's to take them there. And in a historical novel, I somehow have to take us all back in time. I think it's very interesting how um, after reading that specific part, I definitely got to really understand what Steve Otter wanted us to do here. Because a lot of the novel, I was like, okay, like this is great. This is really good writing, really good atmosphere, really good setting. Like these characters feel so real and they're like walking through this life and I can really see them going through this. But what does Steve Otter want us to take from this? This is definitely a reflection sort of book. And if you want a book that makes you think, and also like there's such a beautiful story there, but it's also so ambiguous and it's so open that you could really interpret it any other way. And it was very, very interesting. And you do really get fully immersed into the book. Just so interesting to see how these characters interacted with each other and how their lives unraveled and how a new chapter opened up for them at the end, which feels so classical to me. For example, it talked about censorship and it says what needed to be approved about the printed materials. The Swiss conductor told June that it was less about what was approved than what was disapproved. And I think it's so timely too. I genuinely believe that the release of this was so timely. You know, things that are happening right now all across the world, in Germany and Spain and France and America, like all of these problems that we're seeing day to day, they can really be explored within a medium such as something from 1942, you know, something where time periods really do reflect themselves. And it was interesting to see how people hated each other. There was hatred, there was luxury, there was love, there was lust, there was just all these things. And another one of those, another one of these lines that I wanted to talk about was, I'm hoping that I marked it. He couldn't forget how pain and humor were so tightly aligned that in a moment of mortal revelation, they were indistinguishable. This book reminds us to think, and this book reminds us that we need to sit with ourselves and sit with time. A lot of life just kind of whisks you away, and then once you're at a stopping point, that's where you finally get the time to reflect and you can kind of look back and see how certain things just shouldn't have been done that way, or some things should have been done differently. And I think that this allows us to take a look back in time and see how things were. And you know, there's an absurdity in it, but there also is the very real reality that this book shows the modern reader. These groups of people had to be separated because of how much hatred there was, fueled by propaganda, fueled by fake news, fueled by unadulterated hatred for each other over honestly nothing. Something that, you know, yes, it still stands the test of time today. There is still that prejudice and that hatred, but it still is over nothing. Even today, it's so awful to see that all of these ideals still stand sometimes. I recently took a trip to Germany a few years ago, and I got to go to Dachau, a
German concentration camp. It was absolutely despicable. I mean, the things that people can do to other people, especially over something as just awful and ridiculous and stupid as prejudice, something that it doesn't even, it boggles my mind as to how something like that could exist. Truly, to see the complete and utter parallels that are happening today, with the camps in El Salvador. Things like indescribable, inhumane things being done to these people, innocent or not. To see the other side of that is very interesting, because a lot of the times when we get fiction, or when we get kind of a historical retelling of this time period, we usually get to see it from the people who were living the direct cause of it, usually from the Jewish perspective, or from the Japanese perspective, or from the German perspective. But rarely do we get to see it from the people's perspective, kind of a masses perspective. And here we got to see it from just a hotel holder, a child, and an FBI agent. And while the war almost seemed passive in their lifetime, and just seemed like something that was happening, and while yes, it was affecting their day-to-day life, and how they used to live their life, and how they will be living their life, it's so interesting to see that side of it, because I feel like I haven't seen that side of it per se. I'm living through some things that are currently happening that we're going to look back upon, and we're going to hate, and we're going to say, how could we have let this happen? How could this have happened? Well, and I'm currently living through that and seeing these things happen in real time. And I think that my story, and maybe your story, will also be representative of that as well. I think this was a fantastic book. The more that I sit with it, the more that I can find joy from it and find the necessity of it. But at first I was just kind of confused. I don't think it needed anything more. I don't think it needed anything less. I think that the way this book turned out is exactly what Steve Otter anticipated it to do. It really is such a ride. It's so layered. It's so nuanced. It's so ambiguous. I think it was exactly what Steve Otter wanted. And I would truly, honestly give it a 3.75. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have all been waiting for. It is time for the recoupling ceremony. Did you see that? I channeled my inner Ariana. I might have given you a little hint in some of the clips, but we're just going to go one by one. Now, the will of the many. She's good. She's hefty. She's solid. She's so just absolutely sure of herself in every which way. And the growth that she shows is absolutely wonderfully stunning the entire time. The book I would like to couple up with The Will of the Many, Babel by R.F. Kuang. Hear me out. I think that they complement each other, because couples should complement each other. If you loved the academic setting, which was a really large chunk of the book, I think you would really enjoy Babel if you haven't read it already. In fact, if you didn't like how convoluted and maybe a little bit too vague of concepts that were in there, I think you would love Babel, because Babel is a little bit more heavy-handed and really wants you to understand and wants you to grasp every concept that's in that book. Let's move on to the next couple, which is going to be Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. Now, she was good. She was sexy. So Problematic Summer Romance is going to couple up with No One. Problematic Summer Romance has been left single and vulnerable. And you want to know why? Honestly, the only thing that can truly compare to an Ali Hazelwood romance is Ali Hazelwood herself. And incest is not really my thing. I don't think it should be anybody's thing. Disclaimer. This context, from things that I've read before, she's just one of a kind as of right now. Now, for the third couple, The Night and the Moth. It's just kind of your quiet, nonchalant girl. Girls look at her and want her. Guys look at her and want her. And The Night and the Moth is going to sadly couple up with An Enchantment of Ravens
by Margaret Rogerson. I stand by this one. If you want the fairy tale kind of very just atmospheric writing, but with an actually good and solid romance and just absolutely spectacular writing that just grabs you in the entire time and doesn't stop every single time. Basically, if you want The Night and the Moth, but better, you don't gotta be powwowing every night in the villa, alright? And lastly, we have The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, she was good. She makes you think. She makes you live. She's just so dark and mysterious, and I just want to get to know her more. The Listeners is going to couple up with, this is about to be a controversial take, but The Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. Now, I know, it's another YA pick. Hold your horses, girl. This is technically does lean a little bit more into fantasy. There's dragons, there's a bunch of fantastical elements, and they are children. But I think that you get the little bit of banter and the little bit of found family so good in this. And you really get to feel the main character in The Listeners. Like, you truly do get to feel her and you get to understand her and you get to see how other people get to interact with her and love her as well. And I think you do get a really good reflection of the essence of what the book is supposed to represent in this as well. So I think they do really complement each other and they're actually pretty darn compatible. Now, we've got our 3 couples and 1 single and vulnerable. And I'm so sorry to Problematic Summer Romance, but she's got to go. All right? We have our top 3 couples. And the winner, The Will of the Many by James Islington. Listen, I am a dark academia nerd, all right? You're going to have to pry that from my dead cold hands. She's a behemoth, but she's a legend, and she did that. That I gave a 5-star. So obviously it's got to go to her. Duh. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please leave a like, subscribe, feel free to comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on these books, and I'd love to see you again next time. Alrighty, bye-bye.